Okay, what should we talk about first? Should we talk about sponsorship and funding for awards, or just sponsorship and funding?
You're in charge.
I am.
You are.
I am. I am in charge. Okay, now in the green room, Nathalie, before we came in, we were talking about the differences between sponsorship and funding. Now, I know that this is something that you have sort of used in a number of ways, possibly most recently with your awards. Perhaps you'd like to tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. The general thing is that I don't really want to get too much funding. I don't want to rely on public money. And so I'm looking at alternative ways to get money in the company so obviously it can deliver what it's supposed to be delivering. And funding I found extremely difficult, very time consuming, and it's usually for a one-off event or a one-off something.
And time consuming because
the application process is very long and
lots of hoops to jump through.
And it's different every time because you address funders in different ways, they have different priorities. It's an enormous amount of work which I found more valuable to spend in looking for sponsors, because you also have to work hard on designing your sponsorship proposal, obviously, but you can target the people who you think will benefit from what you do. So I find it a lot more beneficial. And the other reason is that you can build long-term relationships with sponsors that you don't really with funders. I mean, you can with funders if you're part of a clique, you know, and then, okay, that's a different story. With sponsors, you have a business relationship that is based on the quality of what you deliver. They have to trust you. They have to find the relationship with you valuable to them. That is the number one thing, is what you can do for them. And if you do something for them that is useful for their own business to market what they do, and then you deliver, they pay for it, and with that money you can do what you do. And as far as the awards are concerned, the Cannes Creative Awards, which I've been doing for 2 years, sponsors who have been happy, they, before I do any extra work, they want to get on board again. That doesn't happen with funding, that does it? No. So I like the relationship I have with the sponsors, especially and I have to name them, the Ashford School, who are the headline sponsor for the awards. We have a great relationship. I like what they do and the way they value creativity and art in the school, which is a perfect match with the mission of the awards. And that relationship is not just for the event, it's all year long. So
what you were talking about their values, do you think it seems to me that that's actually really important, that and perhaps of more importance than when you're considering funding. So if you're getting funding from very often a public body, isn't it? You go through the application process, you're dealing, I would think, most of the time with one person who is an employee of a corporate, a government organisation. And they allocate you money that isn't theirs.
Yeah, but even before that, there is already a very high level of competition. They have a certain amount of money, a lot of people who apply, and just some of them are going to be picked up.
And they have sort of set criteria.
They have very precise criteria.
You fill in a form. You go through or whatever the application process is, it may be more involved with that, and then you are allocated or not allocated a proportion of some public money. Whereas with sponsorship, the relationship, the values of the person that you are approaching, sort of they have to tie in with you, don't they? Otherwise, potentially your business and how you're seen and whatever the event is or the organisation that you have is going to be very closely allied with the people that are sponsoring you.
What do you mean?
Well, when you're positioning yourself next door to your sponsors, aren't you?
Oh, yes.
And so, you know, you all have to be in agreement with the values.
Yes, but if you trying to position themselves with you, aren't they? That's why they've come to you,
exactly.
Because they want it to rub off on you.
Yeah, I mean, but with sponsorship, if this didn't exist from the start, you wouldn't be talking.
Yeah. But
that's the point of sponsorship. You only talk with people who already have a connection with what you do. If there is no connection, you don't even start the conversation.
But you may well be approached by people who wish to perhaps sponsor or pay for an event. And my personal view is that you need to be gelling together. You need to be coming, coming
but
from the same
again, I don't
sheet.
think somebody who we wouldn't gel with would approach us to be a sponsor if there wasn't a match already.
I'm saying that because there are particular issues. I've actually had that where I've been approached to people offering sponsorship for an organisation that I don't particularly want to ally myself next
but
with.
that might be for different reasons. It could be a match professionally. Now, of course, I can see myself not wanting to work with somebody for maybe moral reasons or something. But I've never been approached by somebody who didn't have any connection with.
Perhaps
the
I'm doing
arts
something
intent.
wrong.
But actually, then that's quite short-sighted. So if this is a business show, any business will benefit from being associated with creativity. So I don't work for Nathalie, so I feel like I say this. If Kent Creative, if you can be aligned with the creative, it's got the two words that matter.
Absolutely.
Actually, she does do a very good job. But even just having that title within your business will give you an enormous boost, because actually everyone knows creativity adds value. We're not inventing the wheel. That is the truth of the.
But the sponsor, the main match that you need to find is that your audience would be made of the same people as what they want their customers to be. And even if there is a connection with creativity or their own interest in creativity, a business who does value creativity, if your audience is not the people they want to target to sell their stuff, that would be harder to sell.
Then it's not the first place you're going to approach.
Well, I wouldn't, but they wouldn't be interested. And when with sponsorship, it's not just sending an email. You have to talk to people. I try and personalize every offer to understand exactly what the business wants, and then we move what we do. But what Genevieve says, I completely agree with it. It's absolutely true, and I think a lot of people in business maybe do not realize how important it is and how much they should value it, and they actually use creative skills all the time. Business,
but if you look, big business understands it. Ernst & Young, Deutsche Bank. These people are funding the most amazing and enormous exhibitions. They absolutely get the value of it, and just having their name associated. Well, on a smaller, in Kent or Australia or America, if you're a small business, you can have a little bit of that, and it is just fairy dust that you're adding to your business.
And that's my second point, because the first point is that match between your audience and their customers. The second bit is exactly what Genevieve is saying now, is wanting to be connected with the arts, for example, and culture, because it actually means a lot of positive things for people, and for a business to be seen as having a connection with that particular sector is beneficial in itself. And some, as you said, the big banks, they do, sponsor the British museums and the Tate and all that, because they see the value in being there.
I'm not sure if this is too big a question to answer in the timescales that we've got, but no, don't be scared. If you just if you imagine that I am, I'm sat here and I'm your ideal sponsor, I'm the perfect organisation person you want to be approaching. Before you even started having a talk with me, what would be your bedrock package, if you like? What would you have in place before you picked the phone up, sent the email, did whatever was going to be your first approach?
Well, I would do some research, obviously, to understand what your mission is, what your vision is, and if there is any similarity with mine, then there is a match. And then I would look into details, who you're targeting, who you want to be talking to, and whether my audience is the one you want to tap into.
So would you then put that together in a document?
Yep, and then what I do is I prepare a sponsorship proposal where I state what we do, but that comes last, strangely enough. I start with what you can get out of being a sponsor and the type of audience you can tap in, the various benefits. Now that could be a long list. I mean, it's got to be proactive. So, for example, giving example of benefits, logo exposure I don't think is the most powerful at all. That would come in the middle because it's passive. So I would first value all the benefits that are proactive. that means the sponsor has to do some work as well. So I'm not into making a proposal where all you get is a logo on a website, a logo on a leaflet, and your name at the bottom of an email. That I don't think is very valuable. It counts, but it's not very valuable. What I would first offer is a direct connection with people. So I think a sponsor should show their face, they should go out and shake hands, they should take action, they should be active. So with the Cannes Creative Awards, for instance, obviously there is the event itself, where people have to turn up, so they can network with the 150 guests, they can stand on stage and address the audience, so they're here, so people can put a face on a name and they can see a person behind a business. Because I also run a radio show, sponsor would be guest on the show, the headline sponsor would have their own show, and then it's broadcast, and I would also engage in conversation with them, so it's not just retweeting, but I do some research on sponsors, and I pick up information from their website, and I schedule maybe 50 tweets for a month, where I actually myself put forward something that they do. If I would share their blogs, I would share an article about them. And when they do tweet, I would respond and I would ask questions and I would engage actively. And there are all sorts of things like that you can do. And the logo come, I think, after that. So it's about finding opportunities for the sponsor to be actively engaging with the audience and to be seen and to be, okay, I see what that business is, that person is running it, that's what they do. And engaging. I think it's the being proactive is the most important. Now, I had a sponsor once who didn't turn up to the award ceremony. I can't see the point of being a sponsor in that case.
No. So I thank you so much. I think that is, if you're sat out there now and you are considering going out and getting sponsorship for your initiative, I'm going to call it, I think that is probably one of the, I don't like to call it a checklist, but it almost sort of is. That is a list of things that you need to be thinking about, getting ready, getting in place, your research, your evidence and your program for what you're going to be doing, because effectively you're providing a platform, really, aren't you? You're providing a platform for the sponsor to step onto, and it's not easy, is it? This is, you know, really quite in-depth stuff that you're doing. And I know, Laura, you've got something to say.
Well, I was just going to say, it works the other way around. If you're a business and you're having somebody approaching you for sponsorship, I think as well, listen to, you know, I mean, I think that's...
Well, the number one thing to do is, well, you say, I do the research and you're asking me, then I pick up the phone. And when you have a relationship, even before that, you've got to understand what their priorities are. And I always ask, what is your marketing goal? What do you want people to know about me? What do you want to promote? And it could be that, for example, with our headline sponsor, Ashford School, we are having the ceremony at their venue. It's actually a brilliant one, really big space with a stage and everything. That is bringing everyone through their doors. So you see, as a benefit for them as a sponsor, is they're going to have 150 people walking through their door, being in their school. Now, and they'll be talking on stage. So if there is anyone in the room who's got children and they want them to go to school and have some art part of their education, they're going to see, well, maybe that's the school I could send them to.
Perhaps we just ought to just explain a little bit about Ashford School. Are Ashford School a private school?
Yes, they are.
So they're a fee-paying school with a particular focus on the arts.
They do value creativity. Their strapline is adventurous learning, and they use creative education. And the head of school, is very interested in the value of art. And because it's my deep belief that children from an early age should be involved in that and to develop their creativity, because you get better in other subjects. It's a very good match. It's a really good example. And
I think perhaps a thing to do, if you're sat out there listening now and you want a little bit more background perhaps about how this relationship has developed and where it's come from, Nathalie, if you can give us the website details for yourself and also Ashford School, and I think are the school actually on your website?
Oh yeah, very much so.
So why don't we send people to your website so that they can see how this relationship is sort of enacted in the real world?
Yeah, so our website is kentcreativearts.co.uk, and there is a link to the Kent Creative Awards with a link to Ashford School, and a couple of weeks ago we had a radio show, the Kent Creative Show, exclusively with them. So it's me talking to them for an hour, and then we had a little tour in the school. So you can listen to that as well.
Okay, and if you are in the Kent area, the awards are...
So the awards are on Friday the 19th of May. They will be held at Ashford School in Ashford. And the tickets for the ceremony are for sale, now open to everyone. So it's a 3-course dinner with wine. There will be Etienne Pradier performing his amazing magic. We'll have some music. So it's a good evening, extremely good opportunity for networking, because everybody from the creative sector you can network with, for £65.
Bargain.
Also, if you were a business looking for sponsorship opportunities, so we're all talking about getting sponsors, but actually if you're a small business, you want to be looking for something to sponsor, even if it's a small amount. Yeah. That would be a good place for a small business to come. You might not think you're part of the creative or networking or artistic community, but it would be a fabulous opportunity.
And you see, this is my challenge, is to make people see that connection.
Mine too.
Okay. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a break in the show now, and normally I might play a little record, but I don't think we've got the time. So I'm going to draw a nice close to that discussion and say thank you so much. I think there's so much information there. If you're looking to get sponsorship, just have another listen to this, and get some notes down and think about how you can be approaching people either to get a sponsor for your initiative, or to become a sponsor, because it's a brilliant way to showcase your business.